Hey guys, Paul Kepner here with Kepcraft Media Productions, and welcome back. If you've seen any of my other videos, you saw that I got this little Pentax Q camera a few months back, and I have really enjoyed using it. It's so small. I mean, you can see my hand. This is my phone right here, so it's sitting on my phone. That tells you how small it is. Like I said, I've had a lot of fun using it. The only issue I've ever had with it, and it's not anything to do with the camera itself. There's no fault at that. I love this camera. The native lenses are right here. And then you can use these C-mount lenses like this. You can also use these little D-mount lenses, these little tiny ones made for 8mm cameras. And that's about it. The other option is you can go with large SLR lenses, much like these. This is a M42, this is 100mm f2.8. And you can see how much bigger it is. What I was really wanting, and what I was wondering why it never happened, is why didn't anybody make an adapter to be able to put micro four thirds lenses on here, or at least lenses that have been adapted to micro four thirds on the little Pentax? Because if that's the case, then you could put these Meike, something like this nice cinema lens on there. And no one made it. I mean, I've looked all over and no one made one. So I started asking around, seeing if anybody would be interested in making an adapter. And no one had any interest in it at all, except for one person. And I talked to Raphael over at RAF Camera, and I told him what I was wanting to do, and he actually had a similar idea. And so we kind of collaborated and came up with a design. He would machine it, and I would test it and give feedback, and we'd go back and forth. And after a few months, he finally created this. It is a positive lock, an adapter, to where, let me move these out of the way. So this top is micro four thirds, and the back of it is Pentax Q. And it uses these little little screws to kind of grab hold of the lens so it doesn't come off. Now originally the one that he sent me and that he's actually selling on, he's now selling these, but on his store, they came with these little bitty tiny brass screws. Let me take one out of the bag and show you. Show you how tiny these are. Really small. And they worked. Don't get me wrong. It's not that they didn't work, but what happened is my fingers are kind of big. And so what I did is I just went down to the local hardware store, because these are M3 screws. And I got some, they're just a tiny bit longer. Let's see if you can see it on the, if I can get them to sit still. There we go. You can see, just a tiny bit longer, not much. It's a 8mm on the brass and 10mm on the little screw I got at the hardware store. So it just gives me a little bit more headroom to be able to reach the screws to be able to tighten it down. I absolutely love this adapter. So now, if I wanted to put, say, this cinema lens on my little Pentax, what I do, very simple. You just line up the red dots like you would on any lens, turn it, tighten the little screws, and it doesn't come off, it doesn't budge, it doesn't wiggle. And then it just simply fits on the camera. So now I can use cinema glass with my Pentax Q, which is freaking amazing. I love that. Excuse me, that's incredible. Now I know you may think that's not a very big deal, and you may be right, but here's where it gets really fun. So remember me saying that this is a M42? Well, I have something kind of cool for it that a lot of people have for other lenses. I only have this one for an M42. So here's a standard M42 to micro four thirds. No big deal, you know. So if I attach this lens on here, And I put it on the Pentax Q, and I look out the front window in our office. You can see this bush right here, straight across. Not too bad. So, but here's where it gets fun. Now, since you can put micro four thirds lenses on your Pentax, a little Pentax Q, here's what else you can put on there. Speed boosters. So now I can take the same lens, I can put a speed booster on there, and I can attach it to my Pentax Q. If I go back to the front and look out the front window, now I have a wider field of view, much like this. So now you can see the bush considerable bit more out there. What I found out about it, which is cool, is with these little D mount lenses and the C mounts and stuff, in video mode, the little Pentax shoots in 8mm, basically super 8mm, slightly bigger, not a whole lot, but it's roughly 8mm, super 8mm film size because of the tiny sensor it has. I'll let you, in case you haven't seen the sensor on it. So that's the sensor on the little Pentax. Now, going with the speed booster, this is just a standard Roxxon. It was like $70 straight from their website. So nothing fancy. So if I put that on that M42, it now shoots in Super 16 format, which is the same as my pocket camera and micro cinema camera, which is really cool. I'm excited about that. Now, one thing I'd love to try is to get one of the Metabones Ultra made for the pocket cinema camera and put that on there, because it has it reduces the crop factor even more than the standard Roxxon one. So my estimate, if just guesstimation, I guess you'd say, is if I put one of those ultra speed boosters on here, I think it might bring it closer to a micro four thirds size image on the Pentax Q. Just kind of cool. And there's other little small pancake lenses I could put on here that are really fast. Or I got some Minolta pancake lenses, a little 45mm f2 I could put on here, and I could use a speed booster. So, I mean, it's really cool now that I have this little adapter. It's pretty much endless on what lenses I can use on this little Pentax Q now. I'm not stuck with just large SLR lenses or the smaller C mounts or the native ones. So now I can use the micro four thirds lenses and get much better footage like this one. I'm very, very excited about this. Speaking of the M42, you can use the Helios 442 on here, and you can use the speed booster on there. And so now when you use your Pentax, you start getting the nice swirly bokeh that it's so popular with on it. But yeah, so this is a really cool deal. Like I said, if you know these cameras, if you use them, how big of a deal it is to be able to expand on what lenses you want to use, which is really cool. So, I mean, super simple on these adapters, like right here. I'll just unscrew these and it pops off, literally. It's just that simple. So yeah, if you have a Pentax Q and you want to expand your horizons on lenses, or try out some cool ones, or if you have some micro four thirds lenses that you want to test on your little Pentax, they're usually pretty fast. Like I have a little pancake, a little 35mm 1.4 from Meike, which is tack sharp, even wide open, and very fast. So now I can use it on this camera in lower light, because this camera isn't known for being a super low light camera by any means. It's more of a daylight and mid light, but you definitely need to light your stuff. But yeah, now you can use speed boosters on them, increase your lighting, and you can use other faster lenses besides just the C mounts and these little D mount lenses. But yeah, I think you'll be really happy. Go over to refcamera.com. He has these for sale. It's, like I said, it's the Pentax Q, are the micro four thirds to Pentax Q Adapter. So on his website and on eBay, he has these little adapters listed for 50 bucks. And personally, I think it's well worth it. The reason he didn't use springs and everything is because there's only roughly about 9 millimeters of room in here, and there's not enough room to machine it and put springs and pins and everything like a micro four thirds mount would require. So coming up with these little screws on the outside, brilliant idea. On these little screws I got at the hardware store, if you're concerned with them damaging your lenses, I've been using this thing a lot and I have yet to scratch a single lens. These little screws are flat on the end, so it really helps. So it gives you more surface area to grab the outside of the lens, and you don't have to worry about messing them up. And then I'll show you. It grabs this flat part on the mount right here, so it doesn't damage it. Let's see. Okay, so maybe you can see it on this one a little bit better. This flat part right here is what the little screws grab. So yeah, in the package with the adapter, like I said, you get these little brass screws. You also get this little Allen wrench right here. It comes with it. And he also includes, if you don't want to use the screws, he also has little grub screws right here. There's 3 of them. 2, and then there's 3. So if you wanted, you could just use the grub screws and not use these, or you know, you could use these and not the grub, or you could use all 6 of them if you wanted. Personally, I don't like the little grubs because I don't want to have to carry this little Allen wrench around with me. But yeah, so yeah, this is it's pretty cool. So like I said, if you like these little Pentax Q cameras and you want to expand your horizons on using different lenses with them, by all means, give Raphael a call. He will send this to you. These things are pretty sweet. So I'm glad to be a part of the development on this. It's very nice, very cool. So, and I thank him a lot for that. But yeah, so if you have any questions, by all means, leave comments below. I will definitely get back with you. I will leave a link for this adapter in the description below, so you can go straight to his website if you want to get one. So if you like this video and you want to see more like it, be sure and hit the subscribe button below and click the bell, and you'll be notified on all new reviews. But until then, this is Paul Kepner with Kepcraft Media Productions. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.